Hey guys, this is Eric Tarr for the ProAudioFiles.com. I've got a trick to show you about de-essing your vocals using parallel processing. I'm working on a song where I'm trying to bring the level of the vocals up to cut through the rest of the music. I've added a compressor and an equalizer, but I noticed that the sibilant parts of my song are now a little bit too loud, almost to the point that they're getting to be distracting. This is where the de-esser is going to come in. What I'll do here first is play the vocals in the context of the music with the de-esser turned off, and then we'll focus on the vocals by themselves. Here's how it sounds.
And like that, it was almost time for war. So I need to be right this time for sure.
Now, let's just isolate the vocals. Listen for the S sounds and also the T sounds.
And like that, it was almost time for war. So I need to be right this time for sure.
So here I'm just using a basic compressor to decrease the dynamic range and then an equalizer to help it cut through more by bringing up some of the high frequencies. The issue is those kinds of processors working together are also going to make the sibilant sounds a little bit too loud. We need to bring them under control. This is where the de-esser is going to come in. I'm going to be using here the FabFilter Pro-DS. I'll show you the basic processing, and I'm going to show you some cool features about it that will open up some new opportunities for us if we start doing parallel processing. So here I'll activate the plugin, show you the basic features. As with all de-essers, you're going to be doing some dynamic range amplitude reduction. So we're going to set some threshold where we want this to kick in. Then the range is the amount of reduction that we want. Then we're going to use this filter here to figure out what frequency range we want to be listening for. So we can audition that sound using this button here. Let me show you some of the features in action.
And like that, it was almost time for war. So I need to be right this time for sure.
Another cool feature about the plugin is it has this headphone button. What it allows us to do is just listen to the part that's detecting as the sibilant sounds or the S sounds. It's going to remove then for us all the sounds that are voiced that we wouldn't want to perform dynamic range reduction on. Next, let me show you my idea for performing parallel processing. So what I'm going to do here is duplicate this track. We got the lead vocal on this one. Click duplicate. We're going to keep all the processing in place to begin with. My idea is to use one of the tracks as the regular voiced part of the singing performance and this other track as the S part. So I'm even going to name it here S. So because we have this auditioning button that allows us just to hear the sibilant sounds, I'm going to keep that button on for this plugin. Then I'm going to go over here to the original one. I'm going to turn it off. We're going to crank the range all the way up. Now we're performing the maximum amount of gain reduction on the sibilant sounds, on the S sounds. So this track by itself is going to be almost exclusively the voice part of the singing performance. This one is going to be then just the S sounds. Now we can control their relative level here by using the channel fader, but then we can also think about how we want to process them independently. So let's just listen to these separately.
And like that, it was almost time for war.
All right, so one idea that I have is now that we're removing a lot of the high frequency content, we can even bring up the level more for the part here that's on the voice track. So we want those parts of the vocals to cut through more, make them extra bright. We don't have to worry as much about those sibilant sounds being out of control. Then what we'll do is we'll come over to the S track where we've got those S and T's and K's going on. Let's back the high frequencies off. In fact, let's roll them off so that now it's much darker. This is going to mean that it doesn't end up being as piercing compared to how it was before. So now let's listen to these things together.
And like that, it was almost time for war. So I need to be right this time for sure. And like that, it was almost time for war. So I need to be right this time for sure.
All right, now in the context of the full mix.
And like that, it was almost time for war. So I need to be right this time for sure.
So that's how you can use parallel processing to de-ess your vocals, gain greater control over them. Till next time, take care, guys.